Hey, what's up, everyone? Dragon back again, here to tell you that you should be watching Sick Note. So, Sick Note is a 2017 British sitcom starring Rupert Grint and Nick Frost, and was initially on British television on Sky One. Has since been distributed abroad by Netflix, which admittedly is where I first saw it. And basically follows Rupert Grint's character, who is misdiagnosed initially with cancer, and then by Nick Frost character who plays his doctor, only to find out that the doctor character is a bit of kind of a bumbling character who finds out that it wasn't cancer. He had mixed up his scans with somebody else, but this is already after he is told, the job he works for, which is an insurance company called We Cover, that he has cancer, and that they have decided to kind of turn him apparently into the spokesperson for their company, or rather like the poster board, if you will. We're talking about how they're showing what a great insurance company they are, that they're helping one of their own. And then essentially he finds out that he does not have cancer, and because fearing the fallout of this and what kind of repercussions it might have, he kind of works something out with the doctor to kind of basically keep the lie going until this whole campaign is over. Whereas, eventually, once it's all said and done, hey, miraculously, your treatment worked very well and you're now cured of cancer. And that's kind of what the plan is. But then what follows is it's kind of hard to explain. The best way I can kind of describe this show is it essentially is the butterfly effect, or kind of chaos theory that was probably made most popular by the character Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, where he talked about where you have a butterfly flaps its wings and you get like snow in Central Park, and he kind of saying Ellie Sattler is like, why exactly why? Whereas I would say if you watched the first episode of this series and the last episode of season 2, and you see what happened, you're going to ask yourself, how did we go from here to there? And that is wherein lies kind of the genius of this series, because it is literally a domino effect. One thing leads to something else, which leads to something else, and the more they try to get out of the situation, the more the dominoes fall, and the more the chaos effect takes place. And you realize that with the chaos effect is almost like social Darwinism turned on its head. It is literally the unraveling of a good idea, if you will, piece by piece. Whereas if you just kind of look back and at the end result, you're like, how the hell did we get there? But when you watch it, how it happens, it's almost genius in the sense that it almost feels like someone had to be behind this to make all these very specific sequence of events take place the way they did, to lead to where they did. And when you are reminded that it is all by random chance, and how they are connected to one another, and how one just kind of eases into the other one, which causes a different effect, which leads to a different one, you realize that is what chaos is. It is literally just a bunch of random things that came about very specifically because of one initial trigger that kind of, again, sets everything in motion. And that's essentially what this show is. By the end of it, there is murder, deceit, lies, corporate espionage, conspiracy theory, psychosis, drug dealing. Again, the list goes on. I would just be here kind of rattling off all these different things that come about in this series, all stemming from the initial really not not just necessarily the diagnosis of cancer, but the lie that was perpetuated after. Rather than just coming out and saying, my doctor made a mistake, turns out I never had cancer, and that would have been the end of it, because Rupert Grint's character decided to perpetuate this lie for fear of repercussion. It created a series of events for his character that were vastly more detrimental than any that would have happened if he would have just, been honest. And kind of leading to the old adage that, sometimes honesty is the best policy, and realizing that as bad as something you think might be by being honest, it's probably still going to be better than what comes about later on, because something else will eventually come about, but by the time it does, it will be the accumulation of so many more egregious acts and events than just the initial one, which technically wasn't even his fault. He went to his doctor, he was told by his doctor that he had cancer. Who was he to question the doctor? And then, the company decided to, use this to their own advantage in a way. But, what is he supposed to do? You go to your doctor to seek professional medical advice and, and a medical professional's, diagnosis. Why would you go through all that if you were just going to disregard everything they say? So naturally, when you go to your doctor and they give you the crushing news that you have a disease like cancer, while disheartened by it, while crushed by it, which you see him go through, while seemingly destroyed by it even, you really have no reason to doubt it. So it becomes a situation of, when you realize that it's not the case, anything that you thought might come about negative from it isn't worth the lie. And that's kind of what this whole show really is about. It's about telling yourself that ultimately, just be honest. And that's not to say that if you tell a white lie, I think this was a little bit bigger than a white lie, that what happens in the show is going to happen to you, but it's more or less meant to be kind of a cautionary tale that, what, you might be embarrassed, you might be even scared, but just, it's like a Band-Aid. Rip it off and you'll get past it that much sooner. But if you perpetuate the lie, it's going to lead to something, it's going to lead to more things that you don't want to get out. So in addition to him not wanting people to find out that he never had cancer, and then that he lied about having cancer, he now has to hide all these other things that are just keep stacking up. And looking back on it, he realizes that, wow, just telling people I didn't have cancer would have been so much better than what I have to go through now. So yeah, that's kind of what the show is about in a nutshell. There's a lot of little things, and I'm leaving a lot of stuff out because it is just a laundry list of things that happen and transpire, and people that come in and out of his life and have various adverse effects to it, I should say. So I would literally just be here listing things off. It's one of those shows that you just have to watch. We really didn't know what to think of it when we saw. We just saw, Rupert Grint and Nick Frost. The guy from Harry Potter and Hot Fuzz. Sure, we'll watch that. And we were pleasantly surprised and really taken aback by just how involved and layered this show is. Pleasantly surprised, but surprised nonetheless. And based on what I've told you, I'm hoping that you guys check it out, but I'm still leaving certain things, back, because there's so many things that happen in the most bizarre way that you won't see coming unless someone just tells you, and I don't want to do that because I want you to be surprised the way we were, so you can kind of gasp and ooh and awe when it does happen. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for today. It's pretty straightforward in that sense, but not in the sense of just how much is happening in this show. And again, beautifully illustrates the whole notion of kind of the chaos theory, the butterfly effect. This show really is a perfect window into this whole concept. So if you're ever really wondering what does someone mean by chaos theory, this show sums it up perfectly. So with that said, sick note, have you seen it? If so, what did you think? Give us some of your thoughts. Let me know what you think. If not, it is currently streaming on Netflix. I will look to see if it is available on any home media. If it is, I believe the link's in the description section below, where you can pick it up, check it out. But I assume a lot of you, not all of you, I don't want to make assumptions, but a good many of you probably have Netflix. So right off the bat, go check it out there. And for those of you who might want to own it, if it is available for purchase, I'll make sure I'll do what I can to help you guys acquire it in that way. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!